Hey YouTube, how you doing? It's your boy Worm. Today we got Z on the podcast. We talk jobs, we talk dresses, and we talk space. You guys are going to love it. Roll the tape, guys. Roll the tape. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Worm. Okay, this is like basically the most unprofessional freaking podcast you can ever come to. And today's guest we have Z. All right, she's the mama bear of my Discord. Okay, she has been very helpful within my Discord. She does not stream, but she definitely takes care of everybody and helps anybody as much as possible. Okay, thank you Z for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Again, hey, seriously, thank you for coming in here and all that stuff. And got a decent amount to talk about and all, even though we haven't really talked in stream or anything too much before
It's
this.
been a while.
But you know, I know you've been playing a lot of
kind of MIA.
You've been playing a lot of Among Us, right, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I play Among Us most Mondays. I have a group of fellow streamers who I play Among Us with, and then I've been modding for a fellow friend as well, streamer.
That's awesome.
So, yep.
Yeah. I think that's how we met, right? Was through Among Us or was it through Halo? I can't remember.
We met through Among Us, and then I got a gift sub to your channel after I followed you, and then we chatted a couple times on your channel, but I think my name was different.
Okay.
One time, and then one time it was Zisla.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other games do you like playing besides Among Us?
I like playing a lot of games. Halo, W0rm. I recently started playing No Man's Sky. I play Stardew Valley. Unfortunately, I can only play a few games on my computer right now because it just decided to not like me.
Well, we were talking earlier about how PCs and all that stuff can be very, very much a pain in the butt. So I can understand
I got all the parts, but the GPU.
Yeah, the GPU. Like that is the biggest thing that's irritating me with the way everything's going and all. It's because like normal gamers or trying to start up gaming and all that stuff. Because like I personally, like since I've gone from playing mostly on console to playing on PC, it's almost like I will never go back to console. Graphics are so much better. I think the response time and all that stuff is so much better. And the thing is like, I mean, for me being a controller player, you can still use a controller on PC. So, that's like a win-win for me because I'm old and I'm stubborn. And I don't want to freaking learn a mouse and keyboard. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I am a controller player, but I also do like the mouse and keyboard because it's easier on my wrists. Although when I am done with life, I just whip out my controller and then
right
and lean back in my chair and sit comfortably and just like
la la la, we're good.
Yeah.
like that's the only thing. Like with Among Us, like I don't know if they've changed it or not, but it would have been nice, like if it did support controller, because I would do this every single time when I was playing. I'd just be like chilling, with Among Us because it's so fun to play Among Us, even though I haven't played it.
The airship map is insane.
Oh, I was getting ready to ask about that.
It's insane. It is huge. It's got 3 levels.
Okay.
And there are so many different, like, last Monday we did it. We did the airship map. We were just messing around because proxy chat's still broken.
Oh, okay.
And we were just messing around, open micing the airship map, and we so many of us could not figure out what certain tasks are. There are so many tasks on that one. It's nuts.
Now,
It really is.
now the is it true that like you even got a thing where you got to plunge the toilet or something like that as one of the
Mhm.
tasks? That is
Yep.
just crazy.
I know. You have to shower, you have to fix a shower, you have to pick up towels. There's the downloads and uploads. There's a new one in electrical that has like 9 parts, and you have to go and find out which switch is number 1, and there are like 8 switches. So you have to like go through each switch until you find one, and you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's annoying.
So basically, it's confusing as hell, and like,
It is. I mean, it is fun. But it's gonna take a minute, I think, for everybody to get the hang of it, because it's just so massive.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely a huge map. I've watched a few different streams and all that stuff, and man, I don't know if I ever went back and playing Among Us again. I don't know if I'd really want to get on that map at all. You know, just give me the
Yeah.
normal maps. You know.
And to be able to chat now in Among Us, since the airship update, you have to create an account. Otherwise, you only get the specific pre-recorded responses on a wheel. So basically, if you want to be able to like chat like normal, you have to create an account.
Oh, okay.
And
Interesting.
I had been playing Among Us on the Microsoft version because my Steam does not like me right now because of my Mac OS.
Right.
My Mac OS is just dying, and I'm gonna wind up just completely wiping it and putting on Windows because like
Have you tried taking it to get like serviced or anything like that to maybe
well, because
see?
when I bought it, it was older and
Okay,
it was like
it was already bad in the
already.
first place.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It was brand new. It was just it was an older computer. I bought it in 2018. This is a 2017 Pro, iMac Pro. So like it's a 5-year-old computer, almost a 5-year-old computer. So
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it seems like a lot of computers are made these days. I mean, it's kind of been like that anyways, but like a lot of computers these days, like after like 3 4 years, like it's almost useless to
I
keep
blame
going.
these.
The
I
phone?
blame cell phones.
Well, I mean, well, didn't Apple have a thing a while back ago, like a class action lawsuit about how they purposely would make their phone not work after so long to make you have to buy a
Yep.
new phone?
Because you stop getting updates on apps after a certain, and Samsung does the same thing after a certain generation. You can't get updates on certain apps. Like if you had a Samsung Galaxy S5, you would not get a good version of IMDb.
Hmm. I never knew that because like I've had the same phone for like 4 years now because I'm cheap and all that stuff, and I've always gotten updates. They always come.
Mhm.
They always seem to come in at random times too.
Yeah.
I'll be at work and it was like, hey, you got a software update, and I'm like sitting here like I'm not doing this on freaking regular data. Wait till I get home and I'll freaking do it on the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
You
it's
know?
gotten so much more annoying. I got a reminder for a software update. It reminded me like 20 times in 20 minutes. I was on do not disturb,
Right.
and it would not stop reminding me that I had a software. And I'm like, dude, no. Can you not?
Right?
Can you not?
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So, you're a mother of three.
I
You're a
am.
mother of three. What is the hardest thing about having 3 kids?
Oh.
Because I've only
So,
got one.
I
And that was like after
oh
one, I
no.
didn't want anymore. You
So
know?
I think the hardest thing as far as my kids go is they're all very close in age. I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old who's on the verge of being 3, and a 9-month-old. So, sorry, I had to think about dates, but yeah,
Everybody's
9-month-old.
almost still in diapers kind of deal almost.
Everybody's still in diapers because my 4-year-old doesn't want to communicate when she needs to go to the bathroom, and the 2-year-old is getting terrorized by the 4-year-old. I know that's terrible, but like my 4-year-old did not want siblings. Like she says it all the time. I didn't want brother and sister. I wanted to be an only child. I'm like, kid, no.
It
No. You
happens. It
would you would
happens.
have
Deal with it.
absolutely hated it.
I don't know.
So,
Like
no,
my.
I was an only,
Mhm.
and I was very lonely growing up. So,
Yeah, I know my son. My son, he's going to be 18 here soon in June. And I know like when he was younger, and when I was still with his mother and all that stuff. Like every so often, he would bring up like I wouldn't mind having a brother or sister. And then I think the main thing is that wanted somebody else to play with because mommy and daddy is boring, or like mommy or daddy would always be, like, okay, we'll play for a little bit and then all right, it's time to be, the parent again. And,
mhm.
it's like I don't want to deal with the parenting side of you. I want to deal with the fun side of you. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I think even when my ex and we got divorced, and all, he was always like, "Are you going to get with another lady, and am I going to end up having like another brother or sister that away and all that stuff?" And of course, with me, after I was like one and done, and all that stuff, I was like, I went snip snip, freaking chewy chewy, freaking it ain't happening no more, and all that stuff. And it's I think the biggest thing is that like I love being a father and all that stuff. Sadly, know now that I've moved, I'm not able to be in this life as much as I used to be and all that stuff. But at the same time, with all the like financial responsibility and all that stuff, it just gets tiresome. And it's like I kind of regret not, giving my son a brother or a sister or something like that. But at the same time, I'm glad because now here in a couple of months, I'm going to be done. I won't have to
Mhm.
worry like a couple years later or a couple years after that. I'm done. I ain't got to worry about it no more.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I've got 3.
yeah, you're gonna get rid of one. Hopefully, like this is the thing is too, like with a lot of kids and all that stuff and this society is that um um like a lot of kids aren't leaving home when they turn 18 and all that stuff. They're staying home and all. And I can understand to a certain extent, like especially if like you're going to school or like you're starting up, a work and you're creating savings and stuff. Like I can understand that to a point and all that stuff. Like when I was growing up and all that stuff. Like it was really instilled in a lot of people that I grew up with that hey, listen, when you turn 18, like you need to leave the house. You need
Yeah.
to freaking get out on your own and figure it out for yourself if you have to and all. And these days it's not really like that. And there's like a plus and minus on. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, no, I know. I don't really so as a kid, um, I had a lot that I dealt with, and when I was 18, my dad got remarried and he moved in with his wife. He moved up to the area I'm currently living in, with his wife, and I was down in my hometown where I was, and I wound up moving in with a neighbor, and it just turned into a whole thing, and I felt very like underprepared for adulthood. And I kind of, as a kid who wound up being homeless, which was like 100% not what I wanted and very unfortunate. I learned a lot of lessons. I learned a lot of compassion from it. I would not wish it on anyone ever. Uh, but me and my husband have discussed this on multiple terms because college education nowadays is not realistic at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. It's
Not the
not.
major
It's
colleges. I would say like tech colleges. They are.
tech colleges are realistic. I'll give you
Mhm.
that. Like community colleges, stuff like that. Learning a trade is far more realistic than going to college and getting a degree because you're looking at $50,000.
Minimum.
Yeah,
Minimum.
minimum most places
Minimum.
a year. So unless you have straight A's and a 4.0 GPA and can get a full ride,
Or
you're
a college
basically
athlete or something like that
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, you're
Basically
basically
a free
no,
ride.
it's just it's not realistic and I had it pushed on me so hard and when I went and I had my reality check on how not realistic it was after high school, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And at that time I had chronic pain and other things like chronic migraine is one of the absolute worst things. And the problem with working in the state that I live in is it's a I don't remember what it's called, but basically everybody has a probationary period and they can fire you for any reason
It's
during
like
that
90
probationary
days
right to
normally,
work.
right?
It's a right to work state.
Right. Right
I
to
live in a
work.
right to
It's
work
90
state.
days or something like that.
Yep, it can be actually anything. Walmart's is now 6 months. A bunch of places have actually upped theirs to 6 months, and most places don't offer you benefits right off the bat. They make you go through that probationary period. There are a few places in this state that do offer you benefits right off the bat, but they're incredibly demanding and they have very strict policies as far as absences and stuff like that goes. And with my chronic pain, because of how completely unpredictable it is,
It just
working
wouldn't
isn't
work
a
out
thing.
for you. It wouldn't
No.
work out for you. Yeah,
Nope.
because it's like I work at a union job. Okay, I work in a
Mhm.
union job and all that stuff, and like we had like a 90-day period or something like that, and all. Um, and that's when your benefits start really kicking in and all that stuff and all. But at the same time, like you said, it is rare. I know I get a set amount of days that I get every year, no more and all that stuff. And if I miss too many days after that, you start getting written up and you're in the process
Mhm.
of, getting fired and all that stuff. Now, is it really hard to get fired compared to, let's say, working at Walmart or something like that? Yeah, it is really hard. It is
Mhm.
really hard and all that stuff, but it is possible. But then if you do get, especially union jobs, if you do get fired and you try to go to, let's say, another union job, they're not going to hire you. They're not
Yeah.
going to hire you because you lost union jobs know how hard it is to lose a union job. Obviously, you went through a lot of stuff to get fired. So why am
Unless
I
you
going
got
to hire
fired in
you?
that probationary period.
That's true too. And all
Because
that stuff.
sometimes union jobs, if the people don't like you, they'll fire you.
To a certain extent and all that stuff and all that there you got to be missing days. You got to be not able to do the job because a lot of times with union jobs they're on the job training OGT or whatever it is, and if you're found like basically incompetent to do the job, then they'll be like, hey, yeah, go away and all that stuff. But at the same time, I will say in my job, I've got a couple people that I swear up and down should never have gotten a job. Should never have gotten a job.
Mhm.
And they're still working there to this very day and all that stuff. And
I
the
mean,
other
and I feel that too. Like you kind of get those everywhere. People who are
very
really
true.
good at faking motivation to get the job, and then when they get the job, that motivation goes down because it is really, really hard to get fired from a union job. Like you have to violate. Sorry, my wrists were.
You're
You
fine.
have to violate policy to a degree that is like enough to get you fired. Um,
Well,
as far
it's
as
fake it till you make it is a slogan I like to say on some
which
of
is
these guys that they did.
not okay,
Right.
honestly. I mean, it's okay if you're gonna like fake something that you have to do, like acting until you can actually act. But like, there's other things where it's just like, nope,
Right,
nope.
right. It's ridiculous and all that stuff, you know. But I don't know because it's like my old lady. She is actually a manager at Walmart. Speaking of Walmart and all that stuff,
Mhm.
and you know we've had conversations about like you know workers not doing what they need to do. Like the other day, she had a worker that just was just dragging their feet, and she was like straight up with him, was like, "Listen, you keep dragging your feet, you keep on doing this. Either you go somewhere else or you just quit. Work in a different apartment or whatever, because I can't do that here, and all that stuff."
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I never got the end result of that conversation or whatever because, like, I was hanging out at her place, and she came home for lunch break or whatever because she lives really close to her work, and
Mhm.
I never like followed up on it later on. But I'm hoping the guy freaking picked up his slack and all that stuff. But that's just going to be everywhere. So
Yeah,
you're
it
never going to
is.
have perfect people.
My union experience was a grocery store chain. It was Kroger, and
I forgot they are unionized, aren't they?
yep, they are. They're one of the very few grocery chains that are, but because I live in Ohio in a right to work state, it's just like, nope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You probably had a bad day of your pain or whatever, and
No, no, I
no,
I showed up for every shift on time. I went the extra mile. I did my work. I never stopped doing my work. My job at that time was slack out, which is something the bakers do now. But you go on, you make a list of what needs to be laid out for the bakers to bake. And then your basic job is to do that. And then when you're done doing that, you work in the deli or the bakery,
right,
and that's your job. And no, I guess someone else was making my slack out lists and they were lacking on the days that I was working, and it got me in trouble because the thing is the manager's supposed to be the one that makes the slack out list, not you, the
right, right,
manager.
right. You just do it.
So you just do your job. So I literally got fired because my manager didn't like me.
Oh, see, I don't understand that too terribly much.
I've had to leave more than one
Like
job because managers don't like me. Apparently I come off as bitchy or lazy. I'm not sure which, but
mm,
people don't like me.
well, it's to each his own, I guess, in a way. But I mean, at the same time, like there's other departments, especially like in grocery stores and stuff like that. There's other departments that you could have possibly gone to that they could have moved you over to make it work because it's like with any job, even my job, like it's not a one size fit all. Like one
Mhm.
job isn't perfect for me in this area, but it might be perfect for me in this other area. It's like for instance, at my work, we got the diesel shop where we're working on diesel locomotives and stuff like that,
Mhm.
rebuilding you know the whole locomotive and everything. And then we got other places where it's combo shop where we're putting wheel sets together and all that stuff. The whole freaking electrical harness and everything. And then you got another spot where freaking it's actually putting the wheel sets together, meaning freaking like you have the axle and the wheels get pressed on and stuff. They call it the wheel shop and
Mhm.
all. And then like my area that I'm in, it's called the air brake shop, and pretty much we rebuild air valves and stuff like that every single day. Well, I've got a bad back, bad knees, and all that stuff and all. Diesel shop wouldn't necessarily be a good place for me because you know I'd be always crouched over, always freaking you know in little predicaments and all that stuff, trying to put engines
Yeah.
in and stuff like that and all that stuff. So that wouldn't necessarily work for me and all that stuff and all. combo shop's not that big of a deal and all. I mean, not as bad unless you're like building frames and stuff like that. I know some of this is going over your head, but
Oh no, I
get the
I helped
gist.
I helped my dad repair many cars. I am a
Okay,
jack
all
of
right,
all trades.
gotcha. All right,
So
but
I know what you're talking about as far as repairing vehicles. Yeah, no, I
right,
know. I got
right.
you. I got you.
But like, so I went to all these little sections and stuff like that, learned them a
Mhm.
little bit. But I've been in the air brake shop for the last probably 7, 8 years now. Um, and the reason why is because I'm able to sit down. Only thing I'm having to use is my hands and all
Mhm.
that stuff. Now it's starting to cause a little bit of arthritis in my hands a little bit, but that's not as bad of a deal as me freaking trying to hunch over an engine, trying to get it in and all that stuff, and breaking my back even worse than what it already is.
Yeah, I got carpal tunnel in both my wrists, so I'm wearing my compression gloves.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get it.
But and all that stuff. And the only thing like it's like with the job is the hands, and then like me always bending my head down and all that
Mhm.
stuff. But the good thing is with this new day and age now, we got cell phones. Your head's always down anyway, so why not?
People are actually like growing a bone
I
out on the back of their neck because they look down at their cell phones so much. And I'm just over here like,
hunchbacks. Yeah. Well, like you've always had that bone in the back, like the top back, and
yeah,
and
but
all that
it's
stuff.
never
But
really like protruded like
mhm.
that.
Right, and it's all because of the cell phones and all that stuff, and that's the reason why I think like cell phones is like, um, it's another one of those give and take, freaking heaven hell, freaking thing, and all that stuff. Because it's like it's awesome to be connected like we are these days and all that stuff. Information is able to get out there. Of course, at the same time, information can be easily corrupted by that as well.
Yeah.
But because also that we are so connected, like sometimes it's good to not be connected to anything and just like go back out in the woods or go fishing or
Mhm.
whatever and stuff like that. And when you go and do this, you don't bring that stuff with you. If you do bring anything, maybe a radio, and the only thing that thing does is play music. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I think that's I think one of the biggest problems that's going to be with this upcoming generation. Like your kids and all that stuff and all this the social media
Gen Z, Gen
issues
Alpha, yeah.
and all that stuff is going to be like trying to
Well,
detach
the later half
themselves
of Gen Z. The earlier
from that.
half is a lot more in common with millennials than we want to talk about.
Well, technically, I'm considered a millennial. I'm just like the early stages of the millennials or whatever.
Yeah.
So, because I'm
I mean,
almost 40 and all, so what?
and I'm a
My, when did what are they say
so
the years for
millennials
millennials?
millennials technically are 81 to 95. Some people will say to 96, some will say to 94. There's like how there's a micro generation between the Gen Xers and the and the millennials. There's also a micro generation between the millennials and the Gen Z.
Right,
I kind of fall in that micro generation between the millennials and the Gen Z. I relate more to the older millennials in as I have kids and I own my home and there's other things. But I also relate to Gen Z in as we grew up with the same TV shows. We remember when technology wasn't a thing. Not as much as we do the older millennials. Like we don't remember
like
eight
me,
tracks and stuff like that. I don't remember
like
eight tracks. But my husband is an older millennial. He's that 82. He's that cusp there.
right,
So
right,
he's what I consider an exennial, which is that mini generation. And then you've got the zillennials, which is that other mini
right.
generation, and I consider myself a zillennial. And it's just like it's everybody's own interpretation of their own like childhood and how they feel about the world and how they view it. Like, I'm sorry, side parts and skinny jeans forever. Thanks, Gen Z.
Right, right. Well, the other thing is like I go on TikTok, right? I go on TikTok, I just got a TikTok not too long ago and stuff like that, and all, and the a couple of TikToks that go around and they do the AOL freaking sound, the logging on to AOL, and all, and it was like, hey, this will forever separate the generations.
I remember
That's
AOL.
true.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's
That's true though.
AOL, Windows 1995.
Right.
Old computers that were flat where you had to press the button to start, like,
Cassette tapes,
no,
all
like,
that
yeah,
stuff,
floppy disks. Oh, it hurts me. It hurts me when people are like, "What's a VHS? What's a
Right?
floppy disk?" I'm like,
What is
these were an
Blockbuster?
integral part of my child.
What's Blockbuster? Do you mean
Oh,
GameStop? Like,
oh,
no.
oh no, I've never gotten that one. Oh, oh. See, and like I've got kids too, so like I feel especially old. My kids know what a VHS tape is.
Right.
We had a
You're
VHS.
still going to have some easy TikToks when they get a little bit older to do
Yeah.
and stuff like that. If TikTok's still around, like I
I
think
don't
it'll
know.
probably die out. There'll be another app.
I think Vine died for TikTok to be born,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Yep.
Although
Yep.
I really miss Vine. I miss Vine.
Yeah. I mean, like I can see, let's say 5, maybe tops 10 years from now, TikTok being Vine, and then there's another app that comes out there
Yep.
and takes over and all that stuff and all. And that's another thing with the technology is ever changing and all that stuff. And that's the one thing that really freaking irritates me
It is
with
ever
my
changing,
parents.
but it's ever changing to a degree that drives me. Because
Insane.
really, all we're doing is just adapting the exact same technology we have instead of pursuing higher levels of technology.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. Um, I don't know. It's just ridiculous on how they how all this stuff is going to be in let's say 10 years from now and all. I wish like we should go back into like exploring space and stuff like that. That's one thing,
Exactly. I mean, like,
like
we,
trying to better like let's say nuclear power and stuff like that.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
nuclear
I've
power
argued
is
this with so many people. Nuclear power is incredibly efficient,
hmm
and there are ways to do it safely. Most nuclear plants are incredibly safe.
but the
Most
thing
people don't
is
know this because there's so much stigma around the nuclear bomb, but they really are very, very safe. There are so many different fail safes like set up so that if something goes wrong, there's like 5 different ways to fix it.
right.
Because nobody wants a city to go.
Right. Well, it's not just that, but also you got to think about it. Most of these nuclear power plants or whatever, they're dealing with 40-year-old technology, and
Yeah.
they're doing nothing but like patch jobs over patch jobs over patch jobs
Mhm.
to keep
Yeah.
up with technology or whatever and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I mean
Hopefully, we'll find a way.
a lot of like things that we need to be updating. Like the United States Postal Service, the IRS, government agencies, they need better higher technology. That just needs.
Well, it's like you're talking about the postal system and stuff like that. Wasn't it a little while ago? I think I seen it in the news about them trying to make new standardized vehicles.
I've not
Um,
heard that.
yeah,
That would actually not be a bad
there
thing
was a
though, because
bid. There
those
was
trucks are so outdated and they're not warm in the winter at all.
right,
Those postal service workers freeze.
right. But there was a bid for it, and then there was some kind of fallout or whatever for it. Like there's a company that won the bid and all that stuff, and then I think it ended
Mhm.
up going to another company or something. I don't know. There was a big thing, but the thing is that that's one of those things that like we do
Yeah.
need new standardized vehicles and all that stuff and all, because we got the same
Yeah.
vehicles that they've been using for what, 60 plus years.
I mean, the police officers get new vehicles every like
Five
10 or
years or so, or something like that.
5 or 6 years. Like they get brand new models.
Now,
normally donated.
Depending on depending on the state, the county, and all that stuff, and all budgets and all that stuff, because it's not automatic. Like my hometown of Amelia, I know that for the longest of times, like the sheriff and deputies and all that stuff, they had the same vehicles for like 10, 15 years and all that stuff, because there's a small town, they don't have the budget for all that. But these big cities like New York and Atlanta and LA and all that stuff, like they're getting new vehicles like every 5 or so years.
I mean, yeah, and also like
I don't know.
No, you're not wrong. But smaller like precincts, municipal police precincts are also permitted to take control of vehicles that have been abandoned after like I think a year or two if they've not been claimed.
That's probably depending on the local.
Those sometimes become police vehicles. Like I've seen sheriff's vehicles that are like Dodge trucks.
Dodge Rams or something.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen Dodge
Dakotas.
Rams.
I've seen a Dakota.
I've seen a Kia Cube. I've seen a Kia Cube.
That's not like, that does not feel safe to me. And that's not going to keep up in a car chase.
I know.
Oh my god!
But it's still
funny. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord.
you gotta think how
you do what you gotta
do,
because the Crown Vic is only good for so long.
Right.
Like the Crown Vic is a really good car.
Impala as well.
The Impala was the Impala, the Crown Vic, the newer SUVs that they're using, which I believe are also
as well, I believe.
Ford. Yeah, they're all good vehicles. The problem is that they're older vehicles. They take more gasoline. They're harder for upkeep now.
They're worrying about EPA, all that stuff.
Exactly. Like I'm glad that they are trying to be a little bit more environmental conscious when it comes to the vehicle choices, as well as like speed conscious, because some of the vehicles that they choose are generally higher gas mileage, better quality like stuff. It's just
right. But those vehicles are also a lot more expensive, and depending on your jurisdiction and all that stuff, some places can't afford that. So
yeah, and which is why you see smaller, tiny little cube towns with Chevy Cubes.
Right. What?
Not Chevy Kia Cubes, but still.
like my hometown where I was born and raised and stuff like that. This is back in late 90s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It finally got its first stoplight for the whole county. Okay, whole county.
Wow.
We only had one high school, one elementary school, one middle school for the whole county. Not like some of these other places where you got multiple different schools and stuff like that. It's all one. You know what I'm saying? Graduating class of like freaking 100 people kind of deal. But before they ended up putting that stoplight in, a lot of people were trying to argue it because they wanted to keep the county rural in the stuff. And like they knew that like even just bringing in a stoplight, that it's going to bring businesses in.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And now I think the last time I went there or whatever, where that one stoplight is, which they still only have one stoplight for the whole county. There's a McDonald's, there's a hotel, there's a Jimmy John's, there's freaking Domino's Pizza, there's all that stuff. Everything that the county didn't really want back then, all of it's there. And all, which at the same time, though, that goes back to what I was kind of saying earlier, that, like you need to come up with the times. Yes, I lived in freaking hillbilly land, freaking, cows and cows, freaking tobacco fields and
Yeah.
cornfields and all that stuff. But you got to come up with the times and kind of stick it with it. And my parents, my family, not necessarily my parents. My parents aren't really that bad, but my extended family, like they are really bad on like keeping up with technology and all that stuff and like I'm even kind of reluctant too because like
Yeah.
I don't want to get like sucked in too much or whatever because it's like I won't lie, like since I've gotten TikTok I probably spend at least 3 hours a day on TikTok just watching freaking videos.
TikTok sucks you in like Vine used to suck you in.
Right.
Everybody says that TikTok died, that Vine died, so TikTok could like live.
Right.
And like I get it, like I get sucked into TikTok too, but I try not to go on that app often. Like I give myself like 1 day a week where like I'll just my tech thing is like e-readers and like I like my phone because my phone does a little bit of everything, but like I want a PC and I want a decent e-reader or tablet that serves as one. Like I actually just swapped from an e-reader to a tablet because the tablet keeps way better battery and is like $60 less than the e-reader that I bought.
Well, I don't know what it was. Is I don't really read that much. Obviously, I mean I'm pretty freaking stupid. That's obvious. But freaking
Don't insult yourself.
but freaking e-readers like a long time ago I had an ex-girlfriend of mine a long time ago whatever and had an e-reader and all and she would always complain about like how the screen wasn't very always easily readable and all that stuff and I was like, why don't you just go get yourself a tablet? She ended up getting a tablet. Never went back to e-readers at all and all that stuff. And she made sure she got a tablet that could hold a decent amount of storage, so she could have, not as many. I think that was the only thing with the e-readers is that freaking it had a huge storage in there, at least the ones that I knew of, compared to like what like the tablets of that day and all that stuff within that price range.
Yeah,
And all
no,
that
I'll
stuff.
give you that. Like the very first generation Kindle versus the first generation tablet, Kindle definitely won out. But nowadays you've got things like the Kindle Oasis, which has like buttons. Actually, I have one. This thing has buttons. So it
Okay.
like up and down buttons, and it can be either way, but the battery life is like non-existent after so many charges. And then you get into the fact where they didn't design it to adapt. So it's got a black light, but that drains your battery life. It's got a dark mode, but that drains your battery life. And an e-reader and this thing has more than 200 books on it. And I can like fit it in most like pockets and stuff, but why spend $300 on an e-reader when after you've had it for like a year, the battery only lasts 8 hours when you can spend $250
or
on a
100
massive
or 100.
yeah, or 100 on I spent $250. That's
Right.
like on a massive tablet, like my new tablet is like 10 inches. And you could just sit there and it still can be one-handed and it still can be what you need it to be, but
And then on top,
it's a better quality piece of technology.
and then on top of that, like with that tablet, you can also use it for other things and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
This can only be used for reading.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's change subjects here and all that stuff. Now I understand you have chronic issues and stuff like that, and it's very hard for you to work and all that stuff and all. But if you could have a dream job, what would that probably be?
Oh, definitely I would have my own fashion design studio and I'd be making wedding and prom dresses.
Do you have any
custom.
sketches and stuff like that you might be able to
I
show?
don't know where any of my sketches are, but I have a dress that I made.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. Give me a second. This is actually a pattern that I made, but I put my own twist on it. I was in 4-H as a kid, so
I was in 4-H as well. But
uh
I was always like messing with fire. I'm a little bit of a pyro now.
no, I made this.
Oh, that's cute.
It's yeah.
That's cute.
It is a 1964 pattern. Like, it's how old the pattern is.
Right, right.
And like, I'm constantly modifying clothing. I've got a dress in here, if I can find it, that I'm currently working on modifying.
She's over here like, come on, get over here. Okay.
Like, I'm trying to do, it's a work in progress, obviously, but like,
Put like a lace or something like that around there and
kind of
all.
like it's supposed to be like a more accurate form of Rapunzel's dress
Oh, okay.
from Tangled, because like her story was like 14th century, so like I'm trying to make
So you like making
that.
like older school
I
dresses
do.
and stuff.
I like old school dresses. Okay, so I say I'm vintage with a modern twist is my style.
Okay.
Because it's just kind of how I dress, although sometimes I just do straight up leggings and crop top too. Um, I like, I just, I really like older, prettier, dressy dresses. I
Right.
really do. I kind of always have. In fact, that closet is filled with dressy dresses.
Right. Have you done
Um,
like anything on like a cosplay kind of deal with those things or whatever? Because you mentioned Rapunzel and stuff.
um, so actually, if you give me a moment, I have actually, hang on. I think I
Now
have it
you
here.
can't put links in the chat, so you should know.
No, I'm
Okay.
not gonna put links in the chat. I'm
Okay.
gonna
Because I have
give
that
me.
disabled.
That's fair. That is fair.
Too many trolls, you know what I mean?
Yeah, trust me,
Don't
I
want to
know
deal
what
with
you
the
mean.
trolls.
I know what you mean. No, we go to the Renaissance Fair,
Ooh,
and
yes. Those are always a little fun.
I
Like I
actually,
love getting the big freaking
mhm,
sticks of meat and all that stuff. I forget it's turkey or
the
if it's
turkey
chicken.
legs.
Yeah, the
Turkey
turkey
legs,
legs.
yeah,
I always used
they're
to love doing
delicious.
that.
They're
Watching the
so good.
jousting and stuff.
Yes. Sorry, my brain is not working right now.
It's all good. I don't know. It's like there was a like I like some like as far as the Renaissance festivals and stuff like that. I like how they have like little mini classes on some of like the old school ways that they do things and all. And like
Yeah.
I'd like that because like it's like especially if like you take kids there or whatever, it's like kind of keeping them introduced to like old school living and all that stuff so that if let's say by some chance, something crazy happens and we have to go back to the old school ways, ooh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's yeah, and then the coat that I'm wearing, same outfit, but the coat, the little
Coat
cape,
over it, right?
I made that. I made the cape. I literally took 2 pieces of fabric and I hand stitched them.
Your hands must have been hurting and it probably took you forever.
It took me 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
It took me 3 hours to do, which is a whole lot. And there were lots of jabs and things, but it was worth it because it turned out really good and pretty. But no, we go to the Renaissance Festival every year, because our anniversary, like,
Over
of
in
when we
Dayton
got
area,
together.
right? Or something like that.
No, it's not in Dayton. It's
So
in
I'm trying to think
Masonville. It's in Masonville, I
because
think, is where it is.
what was it? I had a girl
Or
because
maybe
I'm in Indiana.
Waynesville.
Because I'm in
I,
Indiana, but freaking
okay.
I had a ex-girlfriend of mine, and they were originally from like Ohio area and stuff. And I
Mhm.
think they would always go to the Renaissance Festival that was like in like near Dayton area or something like that. And I can't remember
It's in
exactly.
Waynesville. It's like it's closer to Washington Courthouse.
Okay.
But like it's farther down. Like literally from going to it from Columbus, you would hop on 70 down to 71,
Right,
and then you
71.
take 71 like almost all the way down.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
and
I think I remember something like that.
it's like it's about the same amount of time. Here you go 35 to get to it, but like it is, you definitely, coming from your neck of the woods, you would definitely go through like the Dayton suburb
Right,
area
right, right.
to
And
get
then,
to it.
yep.
Yeah, but as far as
I
where
thought
it's located,
I thought it was like that area, whatever, and all that stuff and all, because that's what we would always like take our little break or whatever in Dayton, and then we would, go the rest of the way and all that stuff. And like the hill in the background of that
Mhm.
one picture, like I kind of recognized that hill because like we had eh, all the parking's way up here. The festival's way down here and stuff, and you got to go down like this hill or something like that.
It felt like a very high hill, but yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely do go down a hill.
Well, I mean, depending on how overweight you are, like, it's going back up that hill is a pain.
Oh no,
Especially
I feel
especially
it.
if you've had some drinks.
No,
Especially if you
I
had some
feel it.
drinks.
No, I'm not one to get intoxicated in public. I will do it in private with friends, but like I like to drink, but I don't like to get drunk unless I'm like in a comfortable situation.
Right,
And
right.
I've literally only been drunk this amount of times.
Well,
So
I
I have
can't.
an incredibly high tolerance for alcohol. That's why.
Well, I mean, so do I. I mean, you probably remember, the one or two times that I came and joined you guys for Among Us, and I was probably trashed out of my mind and all that stuff. So, I like to get drunk and stuff, and
Hey, that's okay.
it's
To each
fun. But
to
but
each
the
their
thing
own.
is like I have to regulate it. All right. This is how like how much I have to regulate me drinking. So it wasn't this past weekend, but last weekend, um, I was over at my lady's house and all that stuff, and I was going to be there from like Thursday till like Sunday in the afternoon or something like that or whatever. And I was like, what was it, Friday night or something like that? Yeah, it was Friday night. I was like, since I've got a couple of days, I'm gonna, whatever. I'll just, I'll just get me, a 72 freaking bottle, instead of a pint,
Mhm.
which is normally I just get a pint. I was like, let me just do that or whatever. I ended up drinking that whole bottle that night. That whole freaking bottle that night, and I was seeing double and all that stuff. My lady was laughing her ass off at me because I was being stupid, saying all kinds of stupid stuff or whatever, and all, and like when I got my last cup, I like muttered to myself, I was like, she's gonna be so mad, the freaking little saying. I basically said it just like that. She's gonna be so mad, you know. And
Mhm.
she was like wondering why I was saying that or whatever, because I just say random stuff sometimes. I think that's the reason why she likes me, because I'm a fool sometimes. But um, and then when I started seeing double, I was like, "Baby, take this drink away from me. Give me water," you know. and I mean, she was like, after that, it was like, from now on, we're just sticking to your pints. And if we have to go get freaking more alcohol the next day, we'll go do that. You're not drinking a whole bottle again, okay? It was funny watching you acting a fool and all, but no, that could be alcohol poisoning. Don't
Yeah.
do it again. I
Yeah,
was like,
generally I don't really consume a lot of alcohol in one setting, but I don't really like the feeling, like the fuzzy feeling.
right,
Um it's part of control things with post
right.
traumatic stress.
I like to drink
I
to the forget. So,
hey, that's fair. I do that sometimes too, like when I'm having a meh day, but I'm not
mm-hmm.
like severely depressed, like, I try not to drink when I'm, like, dead down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's my problem is like sometimes I'll end up freaking I'll be fine and then like the depression will start hitting me or whatever. And then I'm like still drinking because like, whenever I drink, I'm always in a great mood. It's the
Yeah.
next day after, like and like, if you like you're starting to have like a minor depression episode, the next day after, oh, it's horrendous. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. You just
Yeah.
don't want to do nothing like contemplated certain things and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
unfortunately never go through with it or anything like that. But you contemplate it and
You
all.
definitely do, and there honestly, at the end of the day, I know everybody puts so much stock in thoughts, but thoughts are thoughts. It's when they're followed by actions that they
Right.
get scary. It's when people start talking about it all the time or start leading up to acting on it that you want to get worried. If someone just I'm just gonna trigger warning real quick. Suicidal thoughts are normal.
They are pretty much
It
normal, especially
there
with most like okay, depression doesn't happen for everybody. Okay,
This is true.
depression doesn't
It
happen for
doesn't.
everybody,
No.
but with most people, I'd say probably a good 75% of the people that get depressed, they end up
Mhm.
having suicidal thoughts
And it's
and
not
all that
even
stuff.
like it's not even a thought of their own volition. It's stress, anxiety, depression kind of takes you over. And
Mm-hmm.
it's depending on the person. Sometimes thinking about that and going, "No," is actually incredibly helpful.
And also really also shows like it reminds you of how strong you truly really are is when you go and
Exactly.
you have that thought and like I don't know how many times for me like I've literally like yeah I could do this and then it'd be done, but
Mhm.
then like you go through the whole scenario how it would work and all that stuff, and then after that you're like no, not doing that and all that stuff. And that's the reason why I've always been like, when it comes to depression, all that stuff, it was like, it is natural. It is somewhat treatable, but it's never going to go away for most
Yeah.
people and all that stuff. And like for males, there's always been a huge stigma for males to even say that they have
I
depression.
yeah.
So it's
Our society is not kind to men in the aspect of them having feelings.
well,
And they're too judgmental of women. And as far as
it's
the
perceived as if
cons
the man is weak.
and yeah, and it's perceived as if the woman is too emotional
Mm-hmm. Very
or
true.
manipulative.
That's true too.
And what we need to do is we need to move away from those constructs and teach our boys that yes, it's okay to feel, it's okay to cry, it's okay to get angry. It's how you work
Work
through
through
those
it.
things. It's how you like brain can't form words. Mommy brain. It's how you
Google Gaku
um
Gecko Guga.
follow up exactly. It's how you follow up with that. It's how you act on it. There we go. It's how you act on those feelings that matters.
And the other thing is too is like with depression and all that stuff. I think that it's good to get away from whatever that might be stressing you out, might be possibly causing the issue and all that stuff. Because
Yeah.
like that's the reason why like many a times with me like when it comes to streaming and all that stuff, I know I do it to myself because that's mostly when a person that has depression and all that stuff, that's 90% of the time they do it to themselves. It brought on by themselves and all that stuff and all, and it's only themselves that's going to get out of it and
Yeah.
all. And like that's the reason why like sometimes I'll be like, you know what, I gotta step back, and I might do a post. I'm never coming back again, and then you'll see me back a week and a half later. And all,
Yeah.
it's an episode and all that stuff.
And
So
exactly. And they're quite common and quite normal. And they're becoming more common as more people are starting to address their own inner turmoil. The reason that we have so many people with depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder is because for so many years, we just flat out ignored that mental health was a thing. And we still stigmatize it. So as long as it's going to be stigmatized and like thought of as a bad thing, people who actually have it are going to hide it and then thus inflict it on their children. And it's going to be a generational thing that just repeats until society accepts that this is a thing. This is a thing.
Well,
And
the good thing
so
is that it is now starting to be a thing.
it is, yeah.
Because like when I was growing up and all that stuff, um, man, better not cry, better not show any kind of emotion and all that
Oh,
stuff
me
and all,
too. Me
you
me
know.
too still. I mean, yeah, no, I
And
get it.
back in the day, if you did show any kind of emotion or whatever, you were put straight into a mental hospital when
Mhm.
that wasn't what you necessarily really needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and then of course with the mental hospitals, you know, they've basically gotten rid of them now, which I think in all essence, like I don't think that they needed to be used as drastically as they were back in, you know, the 80s, 90s, and all that stuff, and all the 70s and all that. But we do need them for certain aspects and all that stuff and
Mhm.
all, because you know there are people that like have that manic depressive, and it's a hard episode, and it might be okay to go in there for like 72 hours or
Yeah.
whatever and all that stuff, you
Mhm.
know. And then okay, after that, make sure you see psychiatric help and stuff like that. I was seeing the psych for a while through the VA
Yeah.
and all that stuff, because my psych was basically saying that like for me it's like I got a little bit of manic depressive, and then also I got PTSD a little bit and
Mhm.
all. It's all somewhat minor, I guess, in a way, but it's enough to affect me, you know. Um, I stopped seeing him through the VA, and the main reason why is because I just don't like the VA. The VA, I feel, doesn't take care of their vets as much
The
as they
the
should.
VA 100% doesn't take care of their vets. If it did, there wouldn't be so many homeless vets.
True, very true. But like with regular people, non-vets and all that stuff, like you know, because of the stigmatism and all that stuff, it people that could very easily, you know, get help. Be it, you know, I don't like drugs. You know, I feel the natural stuff
I'm
and all that stuff.
I'm with you on that. I don't like drugs
Now,
either.
now, certain instances, I can understand why it could be
Mhm.
used and all that stuff, but I'm saying like if immediately, oh, the doc is like, oh, well, you're having a little bit of, like here's some Xanax or whatever and all that stuff.
Mhm.
That'll fix your problem. No, no, maybe I need
It's
to
a
talk this
Band-Aid.
out. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's a Band-Aid. Like pills are a Band-Aid, and that's what I tell people. Like pills are a Band-Aid. They're not a full-time fix. And yeah, they do help balance things like, and they are very good for things like
Temporarily.
ADHD. Oh, for ADHD, they're a long time solution. For things like autism, sometimes they're a long time solution. But when you're talking about depression, anxiety, it's like it's a whole other spectrum. And I'm not saying that pills aren't helpful because they can be, but
There's
they're
other
not a
support.
long-term
There's
fix.
other supports that needs to be
There are, and like
and
ADHD and autism too, like there are things that you can do alongside or instead of pills that work just as well.
no.
And I wish that Western medicine wasn't so focused on drugging people
Well,
to
mm,
correct
to me
that
on that, that's all about pharmaceutical companies making
it,
money.
it is pharmaceutical companies making money, but the doctors are the ones diagnosing
Well,
and
some doctors are
prescribing
also
these
getting.
drugs.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No, you're good.
some doctors, the reason why they automatically prescribe drugs because they're getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical company
Yeah,
for prescribing that drug because
which
that's
is
the
why I
new
don't
thing.
like Western medicine at all anymore. I'm just over here like I'm done with doctors. I mean, I need specialists right now, but like during the pandemic, I'm not. It's in my area where I live right now, finding a specialist. is not easy.
Right.
I would have to drive an hour and a half toward like the capital to be able to get a decent specialist, and it's just not feasible
Well,
in this
the the the,
right now.
the other thing is too with this is that like I feel that there's also like natural ways and all that stuff that you can
Mhm.
um do things and all that stuff. It's like with me, back in the day when I was like somewhat motivated and all that stuff, I was always happier and stuff when I worked out. If I worked out, get those endorphins going and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Um, now because I've been a lazy freaking bastard and stuff, you know, I'm finding other ways to deal with it and all. But um, there's other ways, meditation, freaking yoga, whatever, and all that stuff. That but again, those different people needs to be shown those things
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And that's what I think is lacking a lot, even when you do see, let's say, a therapist on a regular basis or whatever. They're not, hey, listen, hey, why don't you go on a half-mile run every day for a week and see how you feel after that? Or, hey, why don't you meditate for a half hour and just get drains in your thoughts?
Yeah.
And all, because the thing is like a lot of people get it misconstrued on meditation. A lot of people say that meditation is like, oh, you got to empty your mind. No, it's not always necessarily empty your mind. It might be just you getting into your mind and getting into your thoughts and letting them all
Exactly.
through, and like letting your mind truly process what's going on.
Mhm.
So, because a lot of people, that's got other things going on. Mm.
Yeah. Well, there are so many alternative methods out there as opposed to just taking a pill
Mm-hmm.
or a patch or other things. And I wish that they were more accepted or pushed. Like it's the same thing with doctors pushing breast is best when you have a baby in the hospital. Because yeah, breast is best, but not everybody can breastfeed.
Right. Right.
And there's a reason that formula was developed. There's a reason that it's a thing.
Right.
All of my kids are formula babies because mm, I have drugs floating around in my system
And it wouldn't
from
necessarily be good for the babies because
exactly,
it
and it's
does
from
pass
like
through.
12 years. Exactly, it's from 12 years of taking medication that I shouldn't have ever been on, but it's still in my system.
Right.
Like that stuff never leaves your system, and it really can
Well, I don't know. I
affect
don't know
you.
about never leaves, but
Maybe not never, but
it does
I
take a long time to process out of your system.
I was
Yes.
on I was on bipolar medication.
Okay.
I was on a cocktail. Stuff like that, like psychosis drugs, take a really, really long time, and they can alter some of the physiology and the way that stuff works.
Yeah. I think there was just one drug or whatever. I've never gotten on that stuff, and unfortunately, I was never diagnosed with that stuff because I'm sure with the
I was
VA,
misdiagnosed.
um, um, the VA would have definitely probably put me on some of that stuff. I'm sure.
Mhm.
But um, I know of like there's like one drug or whatever that like it takes like 6 months to a year for it to fully dissolve out of your system and all that stuff. And like for like a woman, having a baby or whatever and all that stuff, like it could even transfer while the baby's still in the womb too and all that stuff. And that could be
That's
very
why
detrimental to the baby as well.
and that's why they don't like women who do take like psychosis drugs, antidepressants, stuff like that. That's why the only one they push is Zoloft. But having been on Zoloft on and off for nearly 8 years without the original cocktail of drugs that I was on, it does nothing for me.
Right.
And so every time I got pregnant, they were like, "Oh, we want to put you on." I was like, "I've been down this road. It don't do
Look
nothing."
at
Like
my
I
medical
tried it the
records.
first time. Exactly. Like I tried it the first time. I was like, this is doing nothing. Okay, let's up the dosage. I'm like, okay, we'll up the dosage. Did nothing.
Right.
Like I wish that they would put more effort into safely researching like drugs for pregnant women. Like because there is a whole list of B and C level drugs, but the A level drugs, which are the only one most doctors are willing to prescribe, are like Tylenol and Zoloft.
Right. Well,
That's it.
some of that also is kickbacks and all that stuff.
I mean,
Some
I mean,
doctors will not
I'll give you that.
prescribe. Some doctors will not prescribe a certain medicine, like even if that medicine is cheaper and basically, let's say the generic form of, let's say, Zoloft or something like that or whatever. Even though it's cheaper, they will not recommend that that drug or whatever because they're not getting a kickback from Zoloft people or whatever.
It's still.
Hello, Lexi. I'm sorry, we got Lexi in the chat. That's all. She just said hi.
Oh. Hello.
But I mean, again, I just say like again, it's going back to not automatically prescribing, drugs right off the bat. There are other ways. I mean, obviously, drugs can help certain people, but again, like what you just said, like after so long, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
You just have to keep upping and downing the dosage until you're just going insane.
Well, or you end up freaking overdosing or something like that,
Oh, yeah, or exhibiting the symptoms of something that you don't actually have, and therefore having to be on the medication forever because the medication is making you exhibit the symptoms.
Right, because it's like,
yeah.
I have like sleeping medication. That's about the only thing that I still really take and all that stuff because like I can't freaking sleep. It doesn't matter and all that stuff. Like the thing is like with me, like alcohol actually wakes me up. Like it keeps me up. It doesn't put me to sleep. Unlike most
alcohol
people.
isn't really. So most people think that alcohol is a depressant. It's really not.
It has tendencies to it and all that stuff.
It has tendencies to it, but it's
a stimulant. It's also a stimulant.
It's a stimulant. It's a stimulant more than
and
it is
depending on how your
Mm-hmm.
brain reacts to certain stimulants and all that stuff depends on how you're going to act and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like with my girlfriend, she'll have like 2-3 shots and she'll be ready to go to sleep. I'll have one shot and I'll be ready to game all night long.
Yeah.
No,
like certain alcohols I found are uppers for me and certain are downers. Like the downers, I can drink a glass of like Southern Comfort and it'll wind me down, but it won't put me down. It also won't get me drunk. It'll just relax me a little bit. As far as Kraken goes.
I've heard of Kraken. I've never had it before though. One of these days I need to try it.
It's a spiced rum. It's very good. It's actually
spiced rum?
not terrible.
That's the reason why I haven't had it.
You don't like spiced rum?
I don't like anything like spiced or anything like Cap or nothing.
I don't like. I understand you with like Captain Morgan, but actually I really like this rum, and the more that you drink it, the more that it's just kind of
right. It's like Fireball, freaking Jägermeister, all that stuff. It's
I don't like Jaeger. Jaeger tastes like cough syrup. I don't understand how people can drink Jaeger. I don't understand how Jaeger bombs are a thing because you're literally drinking something that is a combination of something that tastes like cough syrup and something that tastes akin to Budweiser.
Right. we got Lexi in the chat saying Jaeger's amazing. Don't mess with my Jaeger. Whoa, I'm sorry. My opinion, that's it, okay?
I'm not a big fan of Jaeger personally. But I'm not a big fan of most alcohol. Like I'm not big on vodka unless I'm using it as a mixer. I like I don't like rum straight. The only alcohol I'll drink straight is whiskey. Literally, it just has to be whiskey, and it has to be a smooth whiskey because anything that kicks me in the face is a no.
Well, it's like for me, as far as like whiskeys goes, bourbons, whatever, and all that stuff. Like my favorite as of right now, and it's only because I haven't really ventured out too terribly much, is like Gentleman Jack. I love how smooth that is, and all that stuff.
I've not
Um,
tried that. I'll have
you,
to try that.
it's kind of expensive, but it's like if you like Jack, but it's a little like Jack can be a little
I've not
harsh.
tried Jack Daniels either,
Oh,
so.
well, you need to
Now,
get it.
my thing with alcohol is that I don't like to buy a bottle if I don't know if I'm gonna like it. So I
Right,
try to get like
little
the
shots.
little ones, get the little shots. But you can't always find the little shots in the whiskey. You
Right.
can find it in the rum, you can find it in the flavored alcohol, but as far as the whiskey,
Yeah, it all depends on like where you go and stuff like that and all. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm the type of person like I'll try anything once. It's like the only kind of like let's say flavored or spiced or anything like that kind of like liquor that I like basically
Mhm.
is like Malibu and mainly Malibu Black, and that's like a coconut freaking.
There's a Malibu Black.
Yeah, it's 80 proof.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
instead
I
of
have
40
regular
proof.
Malibu right now, and I mix it. Pepsi just came out with a mango flavor.
Right.
I've been mixing mango Pepsi with the Malibu rum and a little bit of lime juice, and it's really
See, what I've always
good.
done is I'm a big Coke Zero guy. Like with my whiskeys and all that stuff. Like
Mhm.
I'll mix it with Coke Zero all the time, and like having that like coconut flavor with the Coke Zero, like really like I think it's good just as
The
it is.
caramel, like the caramel of the Coke.
And all that
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, I don't know. It's the flavored stuff, Fireball and Jaeger and all that stuff,
Hey,
and
that's fair. I honestly
mm.
don't drink any alcohol straight except for whiskey. And it right now it's gotta be
And you
Southern
do it with a
Comfort.
chaser though, right?
Yeah, water, generally, water. But honestly, I could drink I have a triple shot glass around like New Year's time. Everybody was getting drunk. I was sitting here, I had 3 triple shot glasses of whiskey like within a 40-minute period. Didn't touch me. Sober. My tolerance is ridiculous.
The,
With certain alcohols, and then with others it's just like
oh man, I'm fucked up.
tequila and spiced rum. Those are the only 2 I found that can just get me right off the
Floored right
bat.
off the bat. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like it really only takes like an ounce or 2 to get me of tequila and spiced rum. Like
I'm sure the hubby likes it though.
I've never been like drunk, like okay, so like that's a lie. I've been drunk. I've just never been blackout drunk. Like I'm still aware of what I'm doing. I'm still kind of sober when I'm drunk, if that makes any sense.
Well, you understand what you're doing while
Yeah,
you're that
I lose
drunk and
my
all that stuff.
filter. That's
It's
what happens when I
you
get
might
drunk.
not remember everything the next day,
No, I
but
remember everything and I
uh,
don't get hangovers.
see, with me is that I will depending on how drunk I get, like I'll remember for the most part of what I did the previous day and all. Like if I got really drunk and all that
Hmm.
stuff, I'll remember what basically what was said and done and all that stuff the previous day and all. But I will never be like completely blacked out to where I can't freaking see or hear or understand anything or whatever. I just I never gotten like that. I don't really throw up. I'll have a slight hangover, but nothing but a little bit of Tylenol won't freaking fix that kind of deal. Or maybe just start
Yeah.
drinking again, and then you'll be really good.
Nah,
Okay,
nah, I just.
all right. Let's change something over. Even though we talked about the depression topic already, so like we're good on that.
Yep.
All right, here's something. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a pain in the ass is your husband sometimes?
I plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth? Oh,
I plead
please.
the
I mean,
plead the fucking fifth.
because us guys can be like man children, okay? We can.
I
I'm a man child a lot, okay? I'm a man child sometimes even on, well, actually a lot of times on stream. But like my old lady yesterday and all that stuff was just like, you're such a child. I was like, yeah, but you like me. And all, and you know, she's like, you know, just she's like, I actually like, even though you are hilarious while you're drunk and all that stuff and funny or whatever, but I still prefer you when you're sober.
you know. No, so my husband has ADHD.
Okay, I was
So
actually diagnosed with that when I was younger too.
he gets a little meh, but he's a good husband, and he doesn't drive me crazy all that often. It's rare. It's just when he likes to poke and prod. But I mean,
You know, you
that's
do the
part of.
same thing though, right
Oh,
back.
I do. I we've kind of had more space from each other lately because like my chronic pain's been kicking up, and sleeping with screaming kids is really hard.
That's
And he works night shifts. So generally, I sleep in this room while he's at work. And when he's home, we sleep in the big room together. It's just, and it's not, we're good, and it's a good relationship.
well
It's just,
the one the
we both do things that drive each other crazy because that's part of being in a relationship.
right, exactly. Like if you're not giving each other like some kind of like of a hard time in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form, it's boring. It's going to end. It's all that stuff and all, and it's like like I'm sure, like especially with your depending on how your husband is and all that stuff. As your kids get older and all that stuff, if he's got ADHD and all that stuff. Like I got ADHD and all that stuff. I guarantee he's going to end up getting those kids involved some way, shape, or form to mess with you and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be like,
He
"Hey, kids,
already does.
there you go. You see." And all that stuff, and then I'm sure you're going to do it right back. And that's the thing. That's
It's
the one
okay.
thing, it's
Just
a healthy
I don't know.
relationship.
I do it too. Like I like when he's napping and like it's a day he doesn't work. I'm just like, go jump on daddy.
He'll be like chilling on the couch, just watching TV or something.
Go jump on daddy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they do it.
Right.
And he's like, why? Because that's how men are. Sorry, I'm loud.
Well, no, can be just as bad. So you can't really put it just on men. Even though us men, we like. I like to say as a thing of like, men like to when they get jobs and they grow up and all that stuff, they can like afford grown up toys and stuff like that. And all, and then
PCs, game consoles,
Nerf guns,
large TVs, Nerf guns,
Sport
guns,
Nerf guns, or maybe some other things.
Men like cars, like to each their own, and it varies. Like my dad likes to geocache, so like his thing is not spending exuberant amounts, but spending money on duct tape and duct taping containers and hiding stuff in the woods for people to go find with the GPS.
Yeah, well, it's like the other thing is too then, and then if you have a significant other and you're able to, let's say, do the Nerf. I mean, watch. We've all seen that little stuff, Nerf gun battles and stuff like that. Yeah, if you're able to do that and all that stuff and all, and have little funds and all that, like that stuff, keeps a relationship going and all that stuff. I was messing with my girl freaking last night with, just the dog toys. So
Now we're both gamers, so generally gaming together is definitely a thing we
right.
like to do. I have an Xbox, he has an Xbox. We both have TVs in the big room. Because there's no place to mount them in the actual living room.
Now,
Literally, I've got windows on all the walls.
you should look into like getting monitors and all that stuff instead of like regular TVs and all. I'm sure you know about the response time and all that stuff and how much better monitors would be. But I mean, at the same time, if it's just you two and all that stuff, like what is this one? There's this one game that I keep on seeing advertised or something like that, where it's like it's two people playing together and they're like small versions of whatever. One can have a hammer on their back and stuff like that, and they gotta like go through like certain obstacles and all that stuff, and it's like a buddy system.
Sure.
I forget what it's called, but I've seen a lot of like TikToks of that game where like it's couples doing that. It Takes Two. Yes, that's the game. It Takes Two.
Oh,
I've seen a lot of couples.
I'll have to look that one up.
Play that game on TikTok and stuff like that, and giving each other a hard time and all that stuff. Oh man, it's like
no.
I can see y'all freaking having fun with that.
That's me and my husband when we play Borderlands. Like I would just like shut up, Claptrap. And I'm normally so like I like Borderlands 2. I'm a big fan of Borderlands 2.
I played 3.
I've played 3. I played 2. I've not played through 1 because Claptrap annoys the crap out of me in 1.
Right.
I cannot tolerate Claptrap in 1. I played through 2 on multiple occasions. Hubby and I have played through 2. I play a 0 most of the time when I play through 2. I actually have 2 on my PC now and have been playing through with a friend. I'm still 0. My style in like looter shooters or FPS is I'm a sniper. So I will do maximum damage from afar.
Right.
Because I don't like dying.
That kind of reminds me of my friend Lou, great friend, Canadian friend, and all that stuff and all. He's actually the guy that I was talking about, like had to wait 3 weeks for an appointment and stuff. He's a big sniper. I'm always in there trying to get in there and all that stuff. And I'm like, where are you at? Where are you at, man? And he's like, I'm back here shooting them from afar. It was like, yeah, but you keep freaking missing them. Like, actually hit them. Like actually hit them, dude. Like that'll help me more.
Really good aim. Also, like some video game snipers are not like they're not as good as they should be. Like scopes on snipers in Borderlands 2, some of them are excellent.
Right.
And like one of the things that I like about Borderlands is that there's different classes of guns. And so each class of guns has an inherent flaw and inherent advantage. Like for example, dull weapons. When you zoom in, it will burst fire, but it will be steady. Hyperion, you zoom in, it's unsteady, and the more you shoot, the steadier it gets. It's just yeah.
It's the way the game was made. It was made like that purposely and all that stuff and all.
It was. And it's probably one of the ones that I will play on stream when I start streaming.
That was actually something I was going to say. It was like, when and if you ever decide to start streaming.
I need to. Okay, so
besides the GPU issue.
Besides the GPU issue, right now all I have is the Mac, and in order to start streaming, to be comfortable to stream on this thing, I need to do like 3 things. I need to wipe this thing. I need to clone my Windows side of this and completely wipe it. so that it's straight up Windows, because the Mac OS is the thing that is causing the most issues and has been breaking down for a little while. This is actually a common thing with Macs, which is unfortunate. I need to get a better webcam because I hate the look of this one. It's still like fuzzy and it drives me crazy.
You got to remember also, like, because we're in a Discord and all that stuff and all.
Yeah.
You can't, with the way Discord is, you can't
Mm-hmm.
really adjust the effects and all that stuff on the webcams and all.
Yeah.
Once you get into, like, let's say OBS, I don't know if you plan on using OBS or Streamlabs, but
I'm not sure.
either way, I used to use Streamlabs and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm on OBS. But either way, there are ways that you can adjust webcams and all that stuff. So you don't need to have the best thing. You don't need to have an actual camera, like I forget what they call them, but like you don't necessarily have to have all that stuff. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
different things that you can do. So I personally, I mean, this webcam looks good to me. You seem to be coming through clearly and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just keep what you got for right now. Try to get that GPU if the freaking people ever stop buying them.
Yeah.
You know,
If I could afford the GPU right now, I would already have one.
right? Get
So
the PC going and all that stuff.
yeah,
Because
no,
I'd love to see
I've
you.
got all the parts except for the GPU. And as far as getting the GPU, the prices are going to go back up on the manufacturers. Like there's no way I'm going to be able to fix that. And then I still haven't gotten my tax returns. So
When did you follow them?
February 12th.
Huh? That's interesting. Because like
We also had a baby in 2020. So the
they might be
IRS
verified. They might be verifying or whatever.
the
Sometimes.
IRS sent 7 million tax returns when the third stimulus was approved to the Air Department to buy time for them to be
Yeah.
able to get the stimulus out.
Well,
And then they had the shutdown and malfunction, which backlogged another 20,000 or 200 some odd thousand.
it's
So
all jacked up. So
a lot of people have not gotten their tax return. And I think that one of the reasons that we haven't is because we were in the initial 7 million that they sent
back.
the Air Department. Yeah,
And now,
I'm hoping
and
we'll
now
get it
you're
this
just.
month.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we'll get it this month because they sent those at like mid-March, like beginning of March, and I should have gotten my tax return like the first weekend of March, and I didn't. But yeah, that's our thing, and I'm really hoping we're not going to wind up having to wait till summer. I'm really, really hoping because
Well,
this is a
also hope
terrible
that they
year
don't
for
try
it.
auditing you freaking after you have no weight. You know what I'm saying? Because that's still a possibility of that. They might go, oh yeah, you've had to wait for a month and a half, but you know what? We're going to audit you, so now you're going to have to wait another 6 months.
We have one income earner. I don't know why they would audit us.
You never know. It's the government. Come on now. It's the
I
government.
know. And like I know it's not exactly the IRS's fault because they had to push tax time last year. They never fully got through filing. They're understaffed after years of having funding cut and stuff, but they really I'm just most annoyed that they're not even taking calls. They're not even explaining this to anybody. They're not doing anything to reassure anyone. So a lot of us are just in limbo.
Yeah. And didn't they extend the deadline recently or
The
something
May
like that?
17th, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I
At
have a
least that
feeling
somewhat helps.
they're gonna have to push it again. Probably
I
I'm
can see it
thinking it's
going
gonna
out
get
to
pushed to
June.
June or July,
Mm-hmm.
like it did last year.
Yep.
Because if people aren't getting like a lot of people have like I know someone who's waiting on inheritance
Right.
paperwork that should have been received in like March. And like there's others like everything is behind because we're just not everything is, the economy is not where it needs to be.
Well,
because the coronavirus is a mess, and then we tried to revamp
I think there's a whole lot of
and
inflation right now. There's a whole lot of inflation.
There's
I can
so
see,
much.
I can see the housing market within the next maybe year or two crashing.
And it's gonna
Because it's so overly inflated.
Again.
So
it's gonna
overly
again.
inflated.
So. It's not just the housing market though. I have a feeling that stuff's just gonna. We are headed one of two directions. We're headed into another Great Depression, or we're headed into hyperinflation, which is not going to be good.
Well, the hyperinflation will eventually go into the depression, no matter what. So
yeah, but like if we go into hyperinflation, nobody's going to be able to afford anything.
No.
We're all gonna starve. Like because I literally within the span of 3 months, I get food stamps. So within the span of 3 months, they've raised the maximum allotment 3 times this year. That right there is a little bit of a red flag for me that they have raised the max allot for families 3 times. Granted, I'm thankful that they're finally raising it above like a couple $100.
Right.
But it's a red flag for me that they've raised it 3 times within 4 months of 1 year.
Well, it's like you got this other thing too going like right now with the unemployment, the all that stuff. Like they raised unemployment rates, they've raised WIC, all that stuff or whatever. Like they've raised all this stuff. Something's gotta freaking come to a crashing halt at some point in time. It's got to. So I don't know. What you smirking about?
Oh, nothing. Just a chat with friends. Sorry.
But all right, we are at 8:00 though, and so let's end it and all. Again, I appreciate you coming on the show, and again, I would love to have you on again. Just let me know your schedule. You know what my schedule is, and all. As of right now, the only other person we got scheduled is for next Sunday. And that's going to be the amazing Pixel Pete. He's going to be next Sunday. The only other person I have currently scheduled. I'm trying to find other days, but I got Kyle. He wants to come on the show again, and all. Kyle kind of wants to be like a regular or whatever, but and all. But only days he's available, like a lot of people, is on Sunday. So. It's like I want to have guests on like you and a few other people and all. So, hopefully we'll.
This time is good for me most days of the week. I just can't do anything on Mondays or Wednesdays because I help a fellow streamer.
Right, so. Exactly. And I completely understand that. And obviously, contact me or I'll contact you or whatever.
Absolutely.
To schedule another time. And again, I appreciate you. Anything you would like to say to the stream?
No, just thanks for having me.
Thank you.
It's been nice to chat.
All right. Well, I definitely have to do this again.